One of my favorite neighborhoods of New York City is Roosevelt Island, located smack dab between Manhattan and Queens in the East River. I visit Roosevelt Island often. It's quite easily accessible by ferry, subway, or tram, and some of my favorite historic buildings reside here. This island has had many, many, many different names. It was previously known as Manning Island, it was called Blackwell Island until about 1921, and Welfare Island until about 1973, when it was finally renamed to Roosevelt Island. Locals also used to refer to this land as Ward Island for many years because of the number of hospitals and medical facilities that were housed here. Dating back before colonization, the Lenape people called the island Minnehanonck. In 1666, the island was owned by Captain John Manning. It was next passed to his son-in-law, Robert Blackwell. The Blackwell home, shown here, was originally constructed in 1796. Despite how well maintained it looks, it's actually the oldest structure on the island. The house was built by Jacob Blackwell, who is the great-grandson of Robert. The Blackwell family was incredibly influential to New York City and the United States as a whole. Across generations, the Blackwells fought for the abolition of slavery and women's rights. Many members of the family made incredible progress with these plights. Elizabeth Blackwell was the first female doctor in the United States. Along with her sister Emily, Elizabeth established an infirmary in Lower Manhattan that is still active today. Blackwell Lighthouse was built in 1872 on the northern tip of Roosevelt Island. For many years, there were local legends that a patient at the nearby asylum actually built the lighthouse. You used to be able to find the following words inscribed in a stone next to the tower. "This is the work was done by John McCarthy, who built the lighthouse from the bottom to the top. All ye who pass by may pray for his soul when he dies." Though the lighthouse was actually built by James Renwick Jr. It was in commission until about 1940. On the opposite end of Roosevelt Island, you can see the ruins of the Renwick Smallpox Hospital, all the way at the southern tip. It first opened in 1856 as a 100-bed hospital, strategically placed on the southern tip of the island in the hopes of containing the spread of the disease. The hospital remained active for over 100 years before it was closed down and turned into a medical training facility before going fully defunct. It's since been registered as a National Historic Site. Though the ruins are not currently open to the public, they're supposed to open after the completion of a $4.5 million stabilization project. In the middle of Roosevelt Island, you'll find the Octagon, which was built in 1834. Originally, this was the front entrance to the New York City Lunatics Asylum, also known as the New York City Mental Health Hospital. This hospital received national attention after journalist Nellie Bly tricked the hospital into admitting her. She observed the conditions for 10 days before she was released. Her journalism exposed harsh and inhumane conditions that inspired reform. This branch of the hospital closed down in 1955, and as an abandoned building, it endured 2 fires. After restoration in 2006, 888 Main Street on Roosevelt Island was turned into a luxury apartment complex, complete with a family swimming pool and solar power. The Octagon renovations have been awarded for their sustainability efforts. It's now on the National Register of Historic Places. And this is not even a holistic list of all of the historic buildings and landmarks and monuments that sit on Roosevelt Island, which is a relatively very small strip of land in New York City's East River. I hope that if you do visit and take the tram over from Manhattan or the subway or the ferry, you'll get to visit some of these really cool landmarks and know a little bit more about their history.